All right, what is up, guys? What's happening? Lewi here. Hope everyone is doing great. We are live on YouTube for the first time ever. So let me just check that this is all working properly. It looks like it is. So that is time ever. Fantastic. All right. What's up, guys? How are we? Today, we are going to jam out and dive into a topic that is near and dear to my heart because it's all about VAs, virtual assistants, specifically for realtors. But if you're in a different industry, this will make sense for you too, depending on your workload, depending on what you're trying to do with your business and move forward. So at any time, get involved, drop things in the chat, jam out, and we will be here and ready to roll. So couple things with VAs, right? So it's a pretty interesting topic because there's a lot of mindsets around this that people need to change. There's a lot of belief systems that need to shift, and there's a few things. But today I really want to specifically hone in on if you have really thought about VAs, then follow along with this video, and this will help you get to a kind of place where you can start to make decisions, think about how to hire, who you're going to hire, what you're going to have them do, and then how to implement that on the back end. So let's jam out, guys. Now, why do you even need a VA? Well, depending on where you are in your business, is kind of how this will kind of expedite the process here. Rome was not built in a day, right? As you get to a certain point in your business here, Dan Martell calls this the buyback loop, but I'm going to kind of talk about this in terms of our VAs, right? So you're going along in your business here, and you hit this pain point right here. Typically, this is like a growth pain point where you've got to a place and all of a sudden you are feeling overwhelmed, feeling super busy, feeling like you're putting out fires 24/7 all day, every day. And this pain point here can be a barrier to growth for a lot of people. And the mistake a lot of us make is that we have to take this on ourselves. We have to do all the work ourselves. We just have to work through this and get it all, done ourselves. And this is not the truth. And this is where delegation and leverage really comes into play. So how do we take it from there and create this loop? Let me change my color back here. So again, Dan calls this the buyback loop, right? And this here is the pain point of your business. And pain points, you don't have to think about this as a negative thing. Pain points can be a good thing. Pain points means you're growing and you have to expand in order to keep pushing forward in your business. So with the pain point, there's three things that we talk about here. And this is kind of just setting you up to kind of think about the mindset of hiring a VA and why they are important. Because if you can't get past this place here and you're just constantly living in this pain all day, every day, your business can't grow. You're going to be stuck where you were last year, the year before, and you're never going to be able to grow because the only way you could do it is to work double the hours that you do already. And if you're a realtor, I'm pretty sure that you're not going to be able to do that because we work a lot. We do a lot of long hours. So there's 3 points. I'm not going to break them down in detail, but I just want to kind of show you how this resonates. Again, this is the buyback loop from Dan Martell, so go and check him out. But it's the audit, the transfer, and the fill. And basically what that means is you have to audit where your time and energy is going right now. Once you've done that and find where the pain points are, where the things you're spending time on is causing you chaos, how that's been stressing you out, and what things you need to get off of your plate, then you can transfer it out to a VA and leverage and delegate that. And then from there, you can fill that time back in with money-making activities, with productivity pieces that are going to expand and grow your business. So Rome wasn't built in a day, and the reason it wasn't built in a day is that it took more and more people to come in, and as it expanded, more people came in and started operating in that project, right? It wasn't just one guy like, okay, I'm going to build Rome. He had to expand and expand and expand and expand more and more and more. So every time they would reach a pain point, they would leverage, they would outsource, they would delegate. Now, when they were building Rome, was it done in the most kosher way? No, I'm pretty sure they had a bunch of slaves and stuff like that. But for our example here, you just got to think about that. As you expand, you have to also be open to leveraging and delegating, because it's such a big piece of it. So if you want to scale, if you want to have maximum impact, you want to be okay with the mindset of leveraging your time. Big piece here. Leverage your time and make sure that you can get that back. Okay, so this is why leveraging and outsourcing for VAs is a big one. Now, why VAs, right? Why do we not just hire someone in the States, right? Obviously, we want to put back into the economy here, absolutely. But for most of us, like, this is a pretty unaffordable idea right now. For instance, if you found that all your tasks you needed to hire an executive assistant, it's challenging to come up with right now. At the time of filming, right here is January 2025. You're talking like a minimum 60 to 80K probably. I mean, and that's minimum if you're wanting to find someone good, right? And that's a challenging number for most realtors to come up with. The workload is there, but the finances to pay for that just isn't. So this is why VAs can really bring that down. The cost of labor is much lower, and they can provide the same solutions and be very effective, and can provide a high standard of work to match the output that you're giving. So we're going to leverage the time, but we're also thinking about now the cost of things. Because with VAs, typically, you're paying them around $3 to $6 per hour. And it's very cost effective to do that, to run it out and to start to scale. Now, you can increase their payments over time, but if you're just starting out, that's kind of around about what you're looking at, So if you're doing 40 hours a week, let me get my calculator here. Even on the high end, if you were doing 40 hours a week, that's $240 per week. Times that by 4. So you're talking like $960 per month if you're paying them $6 an hour in total, right? Again, that's on the high end of some things. So half that if you're going for $3 an hour, whatever that looks like. So it's really interesting to see how this is really playing out with realtors, especially, right? Because for me, when I started hiring VAs, it was exactly this thing. I'd come to a pain point, and I knew that I had to keep growing in order to get towards my goals, but I could not facilitate that growth. Like, I couldn't do everything. I just didn't have time. And I was getting to a point where I knew that if I didn't expand, I would just be on this kind of hamster wheel forever. And I would just be the kind of agent that I didn't want to be, who was just okay with just being okay. So I brought in my first virtual assistant. This was years and years ago, and she was my assistant, my executive assistant, and we started running with that. And then I brought in a video editor. Now I have a marketing manager, I have a social media manager, and I have a different executive assistant right now. But again, how I had to expand was depending on who I wanted to bring in at that point. And this is why the audit, transfer, fill is such an important thing to do. You have to audit where your time is going so you know who to hire. So what can VAs do? What are all the things that they can actually do? I mean, they can do everything, guys. Any job at all that you can think. Social media is the big one that people hire for. This is typically a big hire, especially for realtors. We know that we have to be on social. We have to be creating content. We have to be creating videos. We have to be doing all this stuff. But spending that time is like a full-time job. And if you're a realtor, if you're creating content, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram and TikTok for now and all that stuff, like, it's a full-time gig. Filming it, editing it, putting the captions in, the hashtags in, being on there, responding to comments, liking things, like, it's a full-time job. So that is one of the big outsources that we see for realtors, especially who kind of do their first hire. As well as that, obviously, we have the EA, the executive administrator. So your executive admin, a lot of people don't really understand what to do here, but what you want to do here is outsource things like your email, your calendar, any kind of travel, appointments, and all of that kind of thing. Anything that you do over and over and over again that's administrative and you want to get off your plate, this is what an EA could and should do for you. You could also have it them do presentations, listing presentations, buyers presentations, anything at all on that side of things. You can outsource and leverage CMAs, all that stuff. Now, the kind of last big one that we see a lot is a CRM specialist. As realtors, we all know this how important CRMs are, but we're all pretty terrible at using them. It's because it takes time. It takes time to get in there. It takes time to spend, in there sorting through things, tagging things, making sure people are on the right drip campaigns, seeing if property alerts go off. Okay, how do we respond to them? Someone's reaching out. Someone clicked here 5 times. Like, keeping up with that is a full-time gig. And if you're out there doing your thing, for me personally, my strength is being out belly to belly, meeting people, getting in front of people. I know that I can close people if I can get in front of them. So the CRM work on the back end isn't just that it's hard to do, it's boring for me. And if it's boring for me, it doesn't light me up and it doesn't bring back a massive ROI because I'm not really getting into the weeds of it. So CRM is a massive one that you can leverage and outsource. And it's something that a lot of people need to do, especially in 2025 as we move forward into this year, kind of bouncing back from 2024. CRM is going to be a massive, massive tool for a lot of people. So there's a bunch of skill sets that you can have on. This is just scratching the surface. I have an entire big list of like all the skill sets, all the jobs that you could have for a VA. Just comment below, list, and I'll send that over to you. But that's kind of some of the kind of basic things, the basic hires that people do. Now, okay, let me just touch on a caveat here. People ask about TCs, transaction coordinators. Personally, I don't recommend outsourcing this to someone in a different country because most of the virtual assistants are in the Philippines. The reason being, Philippines is the third biggest English-speaking language country in the world. They're proficient, they're smart, they're hardworking, they're intellectual. But so that means that they can kind of cover all this stuff, right? Because it's pretty generic. It can be translated very, very well. A TC, however, you guys know that a TC should and must have a knowledge of state laws, contract laws, understanding every piece of the buyer's contract, the listing contract, and everything in between. So I do not recommend hiring that out to a VA. Some people will disagree with me. Totally fine. If you have good results, great. For me personally, this is the legal part of our business, and it's the legal part of your client's biggest financial purchase in your life. So for me, outsourcing and leveraging that to someone who maybe doesn't understand the culture or maybe doesn't quite grasp the landscape of my city here in Denver, like where things move and how are interest rates affecting things. Okay, what does this particular 4.3.2 of the contract say? What does that fine print mean? Like, I think you have to be well versed in that. So I would highly encourage you not to hire a VA for a TC. Again, others may disagree. Totally fine. But I believe I'm right. So, but anything else we can do. So, what do we look for in a VA? What are the things, the most essential skill sets that I'm looking for when I hire on people, when I want to bring people in? What are the skill sets and things that I'm looking for? The number one for me right here is the why. This is what I like the most. This is what I want to find out. The biggest piece for me personally. If you know, I love Simon Sinek, one of my favorite authors. His book Start With Why. Like, all this stuff is very, very important. We all have a why. We all have a reason that we do things. We all have a reason that we do work. And finding out that from your team, whether they be virtual or in person or whatever, I think is a massive advantage point if you can find out what that is. So whenever I interview VAs, they're not ready for this, because typically when they get hired, it's just like, all right, you come on in here and do this work and check out this. When I interview them, I'm like, all right, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your family. What about your kids? Okay, well, why are you doing, why are you working? Who are you working for? What are your goals? What are your dreams? And we really have this big conversation. And for me, if I know what that is, if they're bought in, if they have a big enough why where they're willing to go above and beyond, do the work required, then that for me is the number one thing I'm looking for. If I find someone who's just like, well, I worked here, worked there, I'm just trying to find another job, and I'm not sure if this is what I want to do forever. Okay, well, bit of a red flag. So you want to find out that why, because Ed Milet, I think it was, said, or I can't remember who it was that said this, that your vision for your business, so your vision for your business should be big enough to encapsulate all of the people that you employ or all the people that you're in your team. Their dreams should be able to fit into your vision. So I'll give you an example of this. I had a VA who wanted to become a high-level video editor. They came on specifically as social media based to start with. This was about 3 years ago. And they wanted to learn video editing specifically inside of, what was it, Adobe Premiere or whatever? I can't remember what the program's called. So we brought him on and started to train him, started to do different things. And while we were training him and getting to do different social media aspect things, I was enrolling him inside of training programs to learn Premiere and learn all these things. And I would pay for that, and I would put it up front so he could learn those skill sets so that his video editing would come up and go up in levels. And again, what's happening right here? My vision is to have someone who crushes video. His vision is that he wants to be really good at this particular thing. So it fits inside my vision, so I encourage it. And because I know that why, it makes it a very back and forth, easy interaction and piece of employment. So I like to find out their why. I think that's very, very important to do. I would have you consider that you want to do that as well. Okay. The next one that you want to look for, and I look for, are people skills. Why is this important? If they're remote, like, why is this a big deal? Well, because, like it or not, depending on what position they are in, at some point they might have to deal with people in who are your clients, who are you're in your business doing your things. And people skills are a big one, especially for an EA. If you're going to hire an executive assistant, they need to be able to respond to emails. They need to be able to speak the language that you speak. They need to be able to understand humor, understand body language, even on Zoom, stuff like that. People skills are a big one because good communication and high-level customer service are essential for anything that you are doing. Third one is English proficiency. So obviously we need really good communication. Communication is the bedrock of success when it comes to training and hiring and working with VAs. So the English language has to be very strong. Like I said before, the Philippines is the third biggest English language speaking country in the world. So most of the people speak English that you interview like pretty well, but I'm kind of looking for a high level proficiency inside of the English language. And then depending on the role, you can kind of look for different things. Obviously, if it's a social media manager you're looking for, you want to look for platform efficiency. Obviously, all the platforms, they know about them, they know all the different trends, they know all the different things, right? If you're hiring a marketing manager, they need to understand email campaigns, automations, ad spend. On the back end, can they build websites and funnels and lead magnets? Can they do all that, right? So you just want to look for the proficiency in the skill sets that you need to hire for. Now, next part is, how do you pay them? How do you pay a VA? Because this is one thing that a lot of people ask about, is like, okay, well, how, like, first one is, how do I hire one? And the second one is, how do I pay them? I'll get to the hiring process in just a minute here. We've got a very streamlined approach for you. You can also just click the link below. I'll tell you all about this at the end, but we run a white label virtual assistant company, and we make things super streamlined for you to find the exact right person for your business. But the pay here is super simple. Honestly, the best platform that you can use is Wise. So Wise, oh boy. Now, if you guys know me, you know that my writing is terrible. Wise. So Wise is great. I mean, you can use other ones like, you know, there's PayPal and there's other things like that. But Wise is typically known as like the top tier when it comes to exporting and money overseas. And it has pretty low fees as well. So Wise, W-I-S-E, is for me the best way to do it. And again, when it comes to finances, you're looking at around about anywhere from like $3 to $6 per hour for a very competent virtual assistant who can work on your thing. Things obviously you have to take into account factors like, you know, how many hours are they doing, what's the workload, right? If you've got someone who's maybe data entry, who's kind of sitting there just entering data and doing spreadsheets and reports and stuff like that, the workload is there. But if you have someone who you're like training to do all your social media, outsource everything, video editing, research and trends, like having to be on top of things, the workload is significantly more, in my opinion. So you just want to think about that in terms of your business. What does that look like? Pay them fairly, make sure that they are compensated, and make sure every quarter for me, so in 2025 here, as this goes along, in Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, we will look at performance, we will look at KPIs, and we will give them a raise accordingly. So you want to make sure that every quarter you're looking at how things are going and you can give that raise. So that's you know, a lot of kind of what we want to jump into today. Obviously, let me bring this down here so that I can zoom in on this. You know, again, that buyback loop, the pain point, that's where you want to start the hire. When you get there, you want to think to yourself, okay, I'm stuck. My expansion is completely stuck. I can't do it anymore. I need to bring people on. That's when you need to audit what's going on. Where's my time and energy being spent right now? How am I not getting to the stuff that I want to do and I love doing and brings me the biggest ROI? Okay, well, that's the stuff I need to transfer out. And then from there, I'll fill in the time with stuff that is worthwhile for me. So myself, our team is a team called Agent Delegate. And we run like I said, a white label VA company, Agent Delegate. And you can click the link below here. We are partnership and powered with Sphere Rocket, which is a massive VA company. Now, a couple of caveats, which is really, really helpful. The biggest problem that people have when they've hired VAs is that they don't understand how to train them, how to set them up for success, and how to keep them for long periods of time instead of in and out. If you've had a VA before and had a bad experience, I would probably suggest that it's on you because you didn't train them right, you didn't set it up. So on our end, what we do is if you hire a VA through us, and again, you can click the link below here to set up a discovery call with one of our team. If you hire through us, not only do you get VAs, not only do they get access to training and one-on-one success coaches and everything on that side, you will get a success coach, but you'll also get access to my community. And I will show you exact systems, exact processes, and templates of how to train VAs and how to keep them successfully in your business, like I have done for years and years now. So this is a big offer that we're doing. And entering into my community and showing you how to do it. Of course, you get all the bonus stuff as well, which is like the weekly coaching calls. You get access to all my, some of my courses that are in there as well. But you get that for free if you hire a VA through us. So again, you can click that link below, set up a discovery call, chat with one of the team just about the options, what it all looks like. And that way, if you decide to move forward, I will help you and I will coach you in how to successfully make sure this VA can plug into your business and you hit that audit, transfer, fill loop, and you can skyrocket and start to expand your business in the way that you truly want to do it. So that's hiring a VA 101. Again, it's not a super complicated process, it's a misunderstood one. Remember that, you want to make sure that you're hiring the right skill sets, the right people for the right job. What do you need to take off your plate? Where is the pain line? Write that out, write a job description, put that on paper so you have it ready to go. Once you get on a call from the link below, you can talk to one of our team about what you need, where the pain point is, and they can start to take you in the right direction, build out a job description, and start to look for that perfect VA for you. The process is really cool. We outsource, so we don't have like a bench just ready to just pull people in, they want a social media manager. You're good at that, right? Let's go. That's what a lot of other VA companies do. We are headhunters. So what we do is when we take your job description, when we put that all together with you and help you really streamline and dial in what it is you need, then we go to the marketplace out there in the Philippines and headhunt those people. We do the first round of interviews. We bring them down and we get it down to a smaller group. Then we do the second round of interviews to really get it to the cream of the crop, the best people out there. Then you come in and do the final interviews with anywhere from like 3 to 7 people and decide who is the best fit for you. We have disc profiles, we make sure all their skill sets, we have their resumes, we have any bodies of work that they want to show you. And then from there, you can make the informed decision of who you want to hire. Then you negotiate with them how much you want to pay them. This is hiring VAs. This is such a crucial point if you want to leverage your business, if you want to grow, if you're hitting pain points and you don't know what to do next. This is definitely a step in the right direction. So click the link below, set up a discovery call. There's no pressure, just jam out. Think about where you can outsource, where you can leverage your time, because if you want to grow in 2025, this is the number one way that people are doing it in order to set them up for success. If you're new here, you can subscribe to the channel. We're going to be going live a lot more and jamming out on these kind of things a lot more too. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments below and we'll get back to you. But until then, stay safe. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.